going on, everybody? The wonderful world of 2025. I mean, yeah, I'd love to go back to a world where people are sane and people aren't so goddamn selfish. I would like to go to that world where people give a fake I give a shit on everything. It doesn't have to do with movies, entertainment. It's about everything. The fake I give a shit is getting old. Where it's like, well, I'm 100% in and I care and everything else. Meanwhile, they're just kind of scraping what they do so that they can just use it for their own gain and fuck everything else. Fuck everything else. And I'm it's getting old, and it's getting old quick, where it's like the selfish people it's not just like, yeah, this person's kind of a jerk, or this guy over here, this girl over here. No, it seems like it's everyone. Everyone don't give a shit, and they give a fake like I care, but when the rubber hits the road, they're fucking nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Where are they? What's going on? Nowhere to be found. And it's getting old. And I will call you out every time. I will call you out. And if that means I have no friends, that means that you can say Derek is an asshole and go fuck himself. It is what it is. You know why? Because when I go to bed at night, I'll fucking rest easy. I'll go to sleep with a clear conscience. And in my opinion, that's better than fucking just toting a line or toting like what everybody, what I'm supposed to say. And I've been like that forever too. It's not just like a new thing where all of a sudden like I feel this way. No. It's important for me to go to sleep at night with a clear fucking conscience, because I know that I'm authentic, I'm real, I don't put up a false whatever. I mean, it is what it is, but it is getting fucking old. I know that. It's getting real fucking old. Anyway, rant over. The beginning of the video rant is over. Okay, so of course everybody's talking about Snow White and how much of a dumpster fire that it actually is. I haven't watched the movie because I don't give a shit, honestly. But I was looking at like Twitter and X and all kinds of stuff, and Hollywood Reporter had brought up a video where it's comparing the old one to the new one, like shot wise. That still doesn't. The main actor of the movie insulted the audience time and time and time again. I don't like I'm a nobody. I'm an indie filmmaker. I like telling my stories. I like doing my thing. My little creative juices in my brain. That's how I relieve that stuff. But I'm not gonna blatantly like, okay, so for example, yesterday is I've been putting a lot of posts out, and I'm gonna be doing some podcasts in here shortly as far as promoting the movies, and my eyes are just going crazy with the pollen and stuff. Um like yesterday, I went to the Covington Square, which is about Covington, Georgia Square, which is about 25 minutes from me. And I have one of my actors and one of my producers had printed off a bunch of things that we used for the premiere that people could hand out, or we could hand out to people. And then if the actor wanted to sign it, so they had something to take with them. And then she gave me a packet of them that she had printed. So I was like, well, I'm going to take some of these to the Square, because the Square has a lot of movies. It's got a lot of movie history. The Covington Square has been in a lot of different stuff. Remember the Titans, Dukes of Hazzard, In the Heat of the Night, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I mean, there's so much you can't even list. Vampire Diaries was shot there. I mean, there's an insane amount of stuff that was shot at Covington Square. So people that hang out there's about 3 or 4 different restaurants that people love to go to. There's a Scoops, which is an ice cream place. There's a coffee house that a lot of people like to hang out and get coffee and stuff. But for the most part, a lot of people that visit the area are movie lovers. That's why they're there, to go check out where their favorite show was made or where their favorite movie was shot or whatever. So they're movie lovers. So why would I not take some of my flyers and go out there and see if I can get people to watch my movie? So I'm going to do it again. I did it for about an hour yesterday. But because it's a square and people are maybe waiting for a reservation or something, people are kind of walking around in a circle until the reservation is done. So it's almost like go there, talk to people, tell them about the movie, hand out some stuff, and then jam, because you keep running into the same people. So it's kind of like you don't want to you don't want to overstay your welcome. You want to say what you have to say. Hey, go check out my movie, and if somebody had questions about it, like one guy was asking about it, so it's like cool. Hopefully he checks out the movie. So I'm going to do it again and go there and spend a half hour, 45 minutes or whatever, and just, hey, check out my movie. It's on Amazon Prime, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, it was a good thing. It was a real good thing. I'm definitely going to do it again. But somebody walked up to me with a family, or somebody walked up to me with purple hair. Like, I'm not going to walk up to them and say, you know what? You're not worthy of watching my movie. You're not worthy of spending the $3 to rent it, or you're not worthy of whatever. I don't assume that. I because I don't want to insult somebody that potentially could watch my movie. I don't want to automatically assume because the person has purple hair or pink hair that they're not a lover of movies, good movies or dramas. So like, I don't want to assume that. So I'll walk over and talk to them, say, hey, check it out. And there was one or two people that were kind of like, they weren't the nicest person, which is, they have every right of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm there because people like movies that are there checking out the locations and stuff. So it's like, I'm in a prime location to the type of people that I want to watch my movie. So I'm there, and like I said, there was a couple of people that were kind of like, standoffish, but it's like, it is what it is. I'm walking up to random people and saying, hey, can you check out my movie? Not everybody's going to be like, that's amazing, but again, I'm not going to assume that because that person has purple hair that they're not going to be a lover of my movie and they're not going to check it out. Like, I'm not going to insult a person like that. I may not agree with their lifestyle, and I'm not going to make a big old check mark and a smiley face on their lifestyle, but that's not for me to judge them on. That's for somebody else that's higher than me. That's for somebody else. But I still try to talk to them. I still try to get an audience for my movie. So when you have somebody like a Rachel Zegler who blatantly fucking talk shit about her audience, and she's trying to get the right person to watch the movie, is bullshit. And I'm going to call it out every single time. Every time. So I got one or two clips about that, and then just some random stuff that we can look at and talk about and stuff like that. But yeah, this first clip is going to, the Hollywood Reporter basically did like a, some of the shots of the 2025 Snow White, some of the shots from the 1937 Snow White, just trying to justify that they stuck a lot of the same stuff, but they're not talking about the fact that Rachel Zegler insulted 90% of the audience, and people are basically like, screw you, I'm not supporting you. I mean, that's a fact. So she did the opposite of what I did. I didn't assume that this person with pink hair or purple hair is not a movie lover and that would love my movie, but she did. That's the problem between me and some dickhead like Rachel Zegler. That's the biggest problem, is I'm not going to assume, and I'm not going to insult my audience. And that's why this piece of shit movie didn't get plays. What, they made like $7 million the first day? Guaranteed it took more than $7 million to make the movie. Guaranteed. Okay, so let's let me present this and we will talk about it. Okay. Okay, here it is. And I might have to stop it because it might be copyrighted music or something, but we'll check it out anyway. See how they're comparing the old version to the new version? Which some of the shots aren't bad. I'm not going to hate on it. You know what I mean? It actually looks better, in my opinion, the 2025 version. But you're also talking about technology is different. So you can't completely say, well, the 2025 one is better. You're talking about a technology throughout the years has changed. So to just shit on something because the technology wasn't available is stupid. And if people do that, you're an idiot. Honestly, you're an idiot. But you take it for what it is. You say the new version is, looks a little bit better because of the technology, and you understand that the technology is different. No Prince. Notice that right away. The seven dwarfs don't look like dwarfs. They look like CGI bullshit. Seriously. That's bad. That's real bad. I'll take the 1937 dwarfs all day. Thank you. And she in the original version of Snow White, she trolls them too. She 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 makes fun of their um because they're stereotype, not stereotype, but they're labeled a certain character. So like Sneezy is Sneezy and Grumpy is Grumpy. So in the original version, she trolls them and kind of makes fun of their character. But throughout the cartoon, the there's a character arc. You want to see that your character is here, but then at the point of the end of the movie, you want to see that arc. You want to see the good and bad changes in that character. You want to see that throughout your movie. And the original Snow White does that, where she trolls them, but you also see that they change and they become closer and they embrace a woman, a human woman, and all this other stuff. Because the Enchanted Forest was somewhere where it was like we don't know what's in there. We stay away from there. So it's sort of not like taboo, but kind of taboo, where they're just like, well, we're not gonna go there because we don't know what's there. They're fearful of the unknown. But there's only a couple, a little bit left. But yeah, so they're talking smack, trying to say, well, some of the shots are real the same, but they don't talk about the actual arc of the characters. They don't talk about like the fact that she insulted the audience. Like, I mean, I'm gonna say to you, blue in the face, you do not insult your audience. I don't care if you I don't care if what type of movie. If you're making an LGBT movie, there may be people that actually like LGBT movies that aren't gay or lesbian. There may be. But so why would you insult somebody that potentially could watch your movie? Which happens all the time. There was a gay and lesbian movie that came out a couple years ago. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say it was called Boys, but I'm not 100% sure. A couple years ago, it had a little bit of mainstream attention to it, and they completely basically was like, well, we only want certain types of people to watch the movie. It's like there may be somebody that likes those type of movies. Why would you insult them? Well, if a Trump supporter watches my movie, then that's not good. Why would, like, if somebody's a Trump supporter and they like LGBT movies, why would you insult your audience? That doesn't make any sense to me. That makes zero sense to me. Like, even if you were not a movie maker and you made jam, and then all of a sudden, like, one person's like, you know what, I don't like this jam, and I think that somebody that supports this shouldn't eat the jam. I mean, it's the same mindset, bullshit, dumbass. I mean, I don't understand people. I don't understand the how thin skinned and selfish people are. I don't think like that, so I'm never gonna be like, I know exactly where they're coming from. I'm never gonna be like that. I don't think that way. And so I don't understand that mindset. It's craziness to me. So yeah, that was kind of when they were trying to do, the Hollywood Reporter was trying to compare some of the shots and stuff. Which, I mean, you can do what you want, but you insult your audience, and that's a game that I'm not willing to pay. I mean, that's not something that I ever want to say. You know what? That's exactly what I want to do. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Okay, and then let's see here. There was a couple of things I wanted to. Another thing I wanted to talk about that kind of goes against this thing is there's all these kind of slappies that are online on YouTube and X and all of them, left, right, center, all of them do it. Where every single movie or every single show that comes out, they hate everything. They could absolutely secretly love it, but they go online saying that it's the worst piece of shit ever. The acting's not any good. But those are also the same people that don't support independent filmmakers. So Hollywood sucks, but instead of jumping on the jumping aboard somebody that is maybe an independent filmmaker that makes good movies, that writes good stories, or whatever the fact is, instead of saying, you know what, Hollywood sucks right now, but I enjoy these type of movies, I enjoy the independence, but they never do it. They never do it. It's Hollywood sucks. I'm not doing anything else. That what? That doesn't make any sense to me. Hollywood sucks, but when it comes to an independent filmmaker, I'm not going to support them. I'm going to shit on them and say, "Well, the acting's not good. Oh, it's boring." Like like what? I I think that most people are grifting assholes that will say anything that gets them clicks. Regardless if they think that or not, they say whatever they need to say to get clicks. They don't give a shit about anything, and all they do is care about clicks and money. Everything else, go fuck yourself. And again, I'm gonna start calling motherfuckers out that do that shit. Geeks and gamers, fucking nerdrotic. Who else does that shit? I was a huge fan of Film Threat from forever. He's starting to fucking do it, which I met him on a set probably 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. I met him on a set. Super cool freaking guy. Chris Gore, super freaking chill. Just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to movies. Just super freaking chill when I met him back then. Now it's all about the grift. It's all about the money. He goes on Geeks and Gamers. He goes on all these other ones. And it's just like, bro, like I appreciated the conversation that he offered me and just the wealth of knowledge of movies that he had. That's what his bread and butter should be. Not let's grift and make some money and lie and shit on Hollywood all the time. Like, come on, bro. Like, seriously. And like I said, it's not just Chris Gore, it's all the other ones that fucking do it too. Where it's like, I guarantee there's movies out there that actually like, but they're not gonna say it. And then they don't back any kind of independent films. There's amazing independent films out there. Amazing. And does anybody give a shit? Nope. Nope, they don't. Because it's not profitable for them to shit on a movie that, nobody's heard or has limited distribution or whatever the case is. It's not profitable for them to do that. I mean, it's a business model for them to shit on Hollywood and that's it. Let's shit on Hollywood and then don't do anything to support anybody else because it's all about the money. That's all they give a fuck about. So I wanted to go get a little bit transparent, dig a little deeper here. Okay, so I submitted my film to 4 film festivals, okay? And I no, excuse me, I 5 film festivals. One of them got accepted to the film festival, and then I got a couple ones rejected. It's normal. And the problem that I have, let me share my screen. I'll show you kind of like a little bit of it. Okay, so here is the screen that I have that is offered to me, okay? I have an archived submission. This is the one, American Golden Picture International Film Festival. It was in consideration. I didn't win, but it was part of the film festival. So I was lucky to have my film in a group of the films that were presented at the film festival. And then I have one that is in July, Atlanta Underground Film Festival, which is going to be this summer. That hopefully we get accepted. Everybody that's in my movie is from Georgia. We shot it in Georgia, so hopefully we get some Georgia love on that one. And then hopefully I can have my actors and producers and everybody attend it. That'd be great. Anyway, so but Myrtle Beach, Green Mountain Christian Film Festival, and then Waco Family and Faith Film Festival. The problem is, and it probably won't show it. It's just showing like a receipt of it. But maybe I'll just go to a random one to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. Well, we'll just go to this one and see if it's got anything that we want. Okay, so when you're applying to these, they give you all your deadlines and everything else. Okay, and then when I hit submit now, okay, right here. So part of the problem as an indie filmmaker is, okay, so here is the categories that they have. Okay, so they have, because the film festival is in Indiana, they want to highlight people from Indiana or shot their film in Indiana. Okay, and then they have a high school thing for high school kids. And okay, so right here, narrative short, and this is a short film festival, and this features film festival is the exact same setup. I'm just kind of showing it to give you context. Documentary short, animated short, horror short. Okay, so this one they specify specifically, like, okay, this is short horror films. These are documentary shorts. We'll stick this over here. These are animated shorts. We're gonna stick these over here. But if you were to make, okay, well, you make a dramatic short, you're going in narrative. You make an LGBT, you're going in narrative. You make an action short, you're going in narrative. You make a Christian short, going in narrative. The problem is my film is going up against other films that aren't in the same genre. So you're not comparing apples to apples. So if they have, 300 submissions for narrative short and they're going through it, if the person on the other end that's accepting the category, or accepting the movies, okay, so maybe they're not a fan of dramas. Okay, they're not going to pick a drama short because I'm lumped into everybody else's shit. Like it's not even separated. So my film, and I come from a biased take. Okay, I made the movie. I'm biased, obviously. Okay, but I think it holds up, especially the ambulance scene that's in the movie. I challenge anybody to make a better fucking scene than the ambulance scene that we have in my movie. I challenge anybody. Guaranteed, not even close. Not even close. I challenge anybody. And if you guys want to see that scene, go to Amazon Prime and click on The Warrior. And above there, it shows the ambulance scene to kind of get people excited about the movie and watching stuff. It's got it on there if you guys want to check it out. I challenge anybody to make a scene that's better than that. Not going to happen. Because most people are not going to spend the money on an ambulance. Most people are going to fake it till they make it. Because they're not going to have that type of money to be able to be like, you know what? And I was very specific on the ambulance, where it's like, no, we need it to legitimize our scene, because I can have the kid falling and then the hospital people come, and then all of a sudden, like, I show an ambulance driving down the street to the hospital. Like, I could have completely went around that, but we didn't. I got an ambulance for a decent price with a driver who was not an actor. But I said, look, if you arrive at a scene and there's a little kid that's injured or hurt or he's passed out, like, that's all they want. I want you to act like you would be acting if it was an actual real life scene. And the dude freaking nailed it. The dude absolutely freaking nailed it, because I didn't ask him to do anything that he doesn't normally do, which is, I mean, yeah, he's probably not used to being on a camera, but he's probably not used to getting on camera, but maybe he is. I don't know. But I didn't ask him to do anything outside of what he wouldn't do normally if he was arriving in a scene where a kid was sick or injured. And he absolutely nailed it. So that's the problem, especially with indie filmmakers, is you're trying to get that rub. You're trying to get people to watch. You're trying to people to get engaged about it. You know what I mean? But if I'm lumped in to a category where there's 3 or 4 or 500 freaking submissions, like how can I make my thing stand out? Like I already have social media up the wazoo. I've already got some distribution, even though I'm trying to get some more. I've got some distribution. So, like, I'm trying to get that rub so that people pay attention. But if I'm lumped into a bunch of freaking movies that are not even the same genre that I am, how am I supposed to stand out? If somebody's not an LGBT film liker, and then, that person's not going to know why their film wasn't accepted. You see what I'm saying? Like indie filmmakers don't get transparency at all. And that's part of the problem that I have, where it's like, yes, I don't have billions and billions of dollars, but my movie does tell a good story. It looks good, it sounds good. Like that was important to me, where it's like, look, we don't have millions of dollars, but if it looks good, it tells a good story, people can follow it. I think people will really enjoy it. I think people will like it. And then you have to get your tissues out because you're going to cry too. So that's part of the problem with an indie filmmaker. And that's why looping it back to somebody like Geeks and Gamers, if they would lend their support to people or films that they actually do like, to help promote, maybe an upcoming filmmaker or somebody, maybe a guy that's made films, but he's not in the mainstream. He does like low budget horror movies or whatever it is. Okay, but they don't. It's all about the money and don't give a shit. It's about grifting and the money. Everything else, go fuck yourself. And that's just as an indie creator, I don't get it. Like I have nothing, but then when I try to prop somebody up from my nothing, at least I give an attempt to try to help somebody else out. So like, hopefully the Warrior continues to get viewers and continues to help the actors that were part of the Warriors get other projects. That's the name of the game, is to give them a quality project that they can be in. It's getting some rub, it's getting some attention, it's getting media, it's getting whatever it is. Hopefully they get rub from the movie. That's what it's about. But when it comes to me, who made it, who spent my money, who did all the creative stuff, who wrote it, who did who's working on distribution now, who's doing promotions, those same people that are getting rubbed from me should be helping me at the same time, and they don't give a shit. They're not helping. It's just kind of like, why did my part? That is the bad attitude to have. As an actor, half of your fucking job is promoting the project that you were on. If you were not promoting the project that you are on, you're not doing your fucking job, which is not good, at all. But yeah, this is kind of the inside baseball when it comes to an indie filmmaker, and why like it's important for a big screen, a streamer, or it's important to get some love from the press. It's important to go on podcasts, stuff like that. To constantly get your name out there and constantly get your product out there. That's why it's important, because people are going to grift and not give a shit. They're going to be like, well, I did my part and I'm just going to do my thing. That's not the good attitude to have at all. So then the next project comes by, I may not think of you on this next project. So you're hindering yourself about getting extra stuff, because maybe if this script you're not into, or you only had a couple lines in this script, maybe there's another script that I'm going to do that you're going to be the person. You're going to be the main, antagonist, or you're going to be the main character of it. Who knows? But if you're not doing anything on this one, then why the fuck am I going to spend my time, my money, my resources on this shit that you don't give a shit? Where it's like, well, I just did my part. That's not a good attitude to fucking have. I'm sorry, it's not. So, but yeah, this is kind of like a little inside baseball when it comes to being an indie filmmaker. And then there was another thing where I was looking at Quora, which is like a kind of like a Reddit style type thing. There was different people that were giving their take on things, and one guy was a filmmaker. There's another one that was a student, and these are a couple years old, but I kind of want to just kind of highlight those and kind of have conversation about it. So let's see here. Okay, so this one here. Okay, here's one of the top ones, and I commented on this. I said, then you don't get the art of storytelling. Hitchcock had zero formal training, so to say that there is only one way of doing things, it's the only way, is incorrect, which is completely a correct mindset. There's not one way of doing anything. You got to be agile, versatile, agile. You have to, because it's always a constant learning it's always constantly learning, always constantly saying, okay, I did it this way last time, I ain't doing it this way next time, I'm doing it a different way. You know what I mean? So you got to be agile, you got to be able to roll with the punches, basically, is what they say. Okay, so he says, I'd like to say boring is being kind. He said he's a movie producers and cinematographer and director and producer. Yeah, okay. And he said, because films are badly executed, feature cardboard performances, or trite or incoherent storylines are boring, maybe even unwatchable. It doesn't matter if they're made by your cousin or your roommate or by Paramount. Sucky always sucks. Indies tend to be made by total or near novices, or worst, over degree film grads, which I kind of agree, kind of. Because when I was in LA, I was running circles around fucking people that were just at film school, because all they know is what they were taught in the classroom, and there's more to it. There's anticipating what's the next move, anticipating, if lunch is at 5 o'clock, what do we have to do to make that happen at 5 o'clock so that we're not wasting time on set? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people like don't understand that's involved. Him being a cinematographer and or director, whatever. Um, like, okay, for example, cinematographer. I've worked with cinematographers that are great eye. They have no sense of fucking time. Or if you let them do 15 freaking takes of the same shot, that's a problem. That's where your directing comes in. That's where your AD comes in. Where it's just like, this isn't a blank slate for you to do 15 fucking takes because you're trying to get the right shot. It's like, that's why I always just do one good one and one for safety. Sometimes it takes 10 shots depending on how the characters, or the actors are doing or feeling or whatever it is. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but if we get one good one and one for safety, most times, not all the times, most times it works out pretty good. So, he's saying boring, and okay, so the best way that I can explain this, okay, is an indie filmmaker it doesn't have the money to be able to shut down a street. So I don't have the money to be able to go to Atlanta, pick a building. We're going to do all the exteriors. I'm going to get drones. I'm going to get cranes. I'm going to get bangers for my actors. I'm going to get a trailer for Crafty, a trailer for lunch. I don't have the money to do all that. And if you take away all the amenities like the trailers and stuff, I still don't have the money to be able to shut down a city street with all the permits and shit. But this guy automatically wants to compare the big budget things to the Hollywood stuff, where they have millions and billions of dollars to sink into it. I have to be wise with my money. So sometimes my script has to go into where I can afford. That doesn't mean that you have to be a cheapskate and you're doing one location the whole movie, which there are some good one location movies out there. But I'm just saying is there's some people that will compromise the quality because they don't have the budget. You shouldn't do that. I'm talking about the extra stuff, like being able to shut down city streets, being able to put bangers and stuff in the middle of the street and shut that shit down. Like an indie filmmaker doesn't have that. Okay. So sometimes your actors are a little bit on edge because they're not comfortable. Sometimes you're in a time crunch because you've got a bunch of scenes to do. And as an indie filmmaker, you don't have the money to be able to stretch out another day or stretch out another 2 days. So we have to focus. We have to get it right, and we have to focus, and it has to be done right now. Sometimes there is people that are on set, actors, production, producers, makeup, whoever it is, ACs. Sometimes they're thinking about the next project that they have and don't give a shit. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes that affects the quality of work. Not all the time, because a lot of times your cinematographer is in it for the in it for the the entirety of the project. So typically, it's going to be your assistants, your ACs, your grips, electric. Sometimes it's the hair and makeup people that rotate around or whatever it is. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. And somebody like this obviously claims he's a producer and director and cinematographer, doesn't understand that. So for him to say that he's a director, producer, cinematographer, I think it's a lie. Because people that are people that are on step 5 when everybody else is on step 1, those are good producers. He's not thinking like a producer. He can say he's a producer, but he's not thinking like one at all. That's why I think that whatever title that he says is bullshit. It's bullshit. Because as a producer, he would understand that. As a director, he would understand that. And he doesn't. His comment is basically saying, I'm saying that I'm a producer, I'm saying I'm a director, but he's not. He's a fucking grunt worker who's trying to elevate himself, which is fine. I'm never going to disparage somebody from elevating himself, but don't fucking lie. Don't fucking lie. And that's what he's doing. The very, very few people that just pick up a camera and make a great film are few and far between that they get noticed and interviewed and written about. It's the same with a natural gifted musician who just heard music and started playing. Then a million other people buy guitars thinking that this must be easy. And there you have it, really bad films. But unlike music, where everyone knows a music bad in the first 15 to 40 seconds, a filmmaker spends a year working on others, often equally green, before unveiling a 90 minutes streamer. And you have to stay awake through half of it before you realize it has no hope. Disagree. With COVID and the fact that the amount of movie theaters that are taking a shit right now, there's only a couple majors, and then there's local ones that barely do anything. So the film theater market is very thin right now. Where is your film supposed to go? On DVD and on streaming. So for him to disparage, it's just for streaming. Where's your film supposed to go? Fucking YouTube, so 5 people watch it? Come on, dude. Again, that is not a person that is thinking like a producer. They're thinking about a fucking grunt worker. So he's probably he says he's a cinematographer. He's probably an AC somewhere or something like that, like basically swinging lenses and stuff like that. He might have been a cinematographer for some low stuff, but he's not thinking big picture. Big picture thinkers are producers. This guy's not thinking like that. He's just like, well, they don't have the money, and then the story that they chose. Most fucking Hollywood stories are based off of books. Most. Why is that? Because Hollywood doesn't want to take they don't want to take a chance on something that potentially could not work. That's why they scoop up fucking books as much as they can. And the more successful the books, the better. Because they have a built-in audience. That's why most Hollywood movies are based off books. Because they don't want to take the chance. but an indie filmmaker will. An indie filmmaker will take the chance. Obviously, budget depends on that, but an indie filmmaker will take a chance on something. Some work, some don't work. I just want somebody to that's the audience side. I want them to take a chance. I want them to look at it as the art of telling a story, as opposed to this shit's boring and there's not anything that's exploding in the next 10 minutes. An indie filmmaker doesn't have the fucking money to be able to have shit blowing up. It's not the fucking MCU. So again, this guy's not a producer. He claims he is, but he's not thinking in different levels. He's not thinking in big picture. He doesn't understand how the fucking industry works, and all he's just gonna say is, "Well, it's on the streaming." What movie theater is my movie going to be shown in? Maybe a couple indie theaters, maybe. Why? Because they're not going to take a chance on my movie because it's not based off a book. It doesn't have a built-in audience. So I have to do the legwork on my own. Again, if this guy fucking knew that, he would say that, but he's not. He's being disingenuous. If the movie's boring, it's boring. If the script sucks, it sucks. And if the actors can't act, they can't act. There is a solution: make fewer and better movies. Sundance Film Festival alone, 2018, there was almost 4,000 feature film submissions. Similar number have been over a decade. Sundance only takes movies that have a celebrity in them. Thank you very much, dickhead, who doesn't know. All it is just a corporized, a corporate. They don't take submissions unless you have a celebrity. Again, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Again, and he's showing it right here. Over 8,000 shorts were submitted. That's over 13,000 films yield 192 screened to audiences at one event. Yeah, and if 192 of those, I would say probably 100 and at least 150 of them have some sort of celebrity attached to them. At least, either international, local celebrity, international, any of that stuff, because there's so much indie films of genres and other films that are purely aimed at sale. I'm going to guess about 25% of the indie features are submitted to Sundance, is likely far fewer. If that's true, that means you have over 11,000 indie films made annually. Which I agree with. I mean, there are people that are shooting stuff with an iPhone, which I think you should make a little bit more effort than just shooting with an iPhone. Because there's so much more depth field in an actual cinema. Even if you use a 4K Blackmagic or a 6K Blackmagic, you can still put great freaking lenses on those, and you get so much depth of field. You get so many colors. You can get so much from them that an iPhone is not going to be able to give you. So, probably a decent amount of these are fucking iPhone movies. But yeah, that's what that guy basically showed his ass as not like he thinks that his way is the only way, and he's not thinking like an indie film person at all. So, like I said, he's probably an AC somewhere. He's probably slinging fucking lenses for somebody, and he has an opinion about something he doesn't fucking know. Hey, what does this person say this year? Only a few stinkers come out of Hollywood. What? I'd like to say only stinkers come out of Hollywood. Also, mid '90s was atrocious, and showed Hill knew nothing about telling a good coming of age tale. Here's a true indie gem you should check out. Okay, let's go to this Britney girl. Okay, so they are boring and terrible because they have no storyline or plot. Their filming and editing is horrible. They have no music in the background and don't take good shots like union films do. If you're basing your opinion on a union film versus everything else, you're a fucking idiot. Seriously. Seriously, Brittany, you're a fucking idiot. and then they have no music. There are some movies that have won Academy Awards that have little to no music in them. Again, Britney is a fucking idiot. It's annoying because Netflix and other streaming sites are starting to overload with horribly made independent films. They're more like making a movie than just have a camera and an actor. There's a lot of money and still and quality involved. Most of the independent movie actors are horrible. I beg to differ. I've worked with some fucking amazing actors that are indie actors. So again, Brittany, who studies at Westmoreland County Community College with a 2-year degree, taking 4 or 5 years to make that 2-year degree fucking happen. Yeah, okay. Shaky camera and overexposed lighting, bad visual quality, the lack of change in shot that professional union groups use. Lack of change of shot. I mean, that's what you do pre-production for, Brittany. And if you were on a actually fucking movie and you knew about pre-production, you would not have that comment at all. Okay, this bend over guy. They're boring because they're usually are too much film school. Every time I see a well-done independent film, everything screams I took lit crit too seriously. It's obvious. They get caught up in the pointless details, trying to add layers and forget that they're supposed to be telling a story first. I do agree with that. The best depth in what is missed because it was subtitled. But now, when you are punched in the face with it, layers should be rewarded with rewatches. Huh. It's a decent take, Ben. Okay, bad script vision. You need a good story, and you need to be a good storyteller. There's not too much things as your audience was just too dumb to understand your idea of storytelling formula. Your formula sucks. I don't necessarily agree with that because my movie, if you sent that to a Hollywood person, they're probably going to be like, well, there's not a first, a second, and third act in it, even though there is. And it's kind of choppy and it's this and that. But then but if I send it to a normie or a person that loves movies, they absolutely love it. So my audience is not Hollywood people. My audience are normal people that can relate to a child that has cancer. That's what my audience is, and that's who I critique. That's who I send my energy toward. Is those type of people because that's my audience. My audience isn't a Hollywood fucking elite guy in LA who's sitting on his fucking Apple box just going around. That's not my audience because they're either A, they're not going to take the time to watch it, or B, they're just going to be hypercritical of it, like trying to just bash every little detail. I've been there. I know how it is because I've done it. I'm not um I'm not gonna not admit that I haven't done that shit. I have. Okay. Bad creators, directors. Having a vision is nice, but few people have the full spectrum and the talent needed to communicate and or obtain it. Most actually do have talent in one of the two areas. But there's films are absolutely crippled by the weak point and the unrelentlessness to release control of those areas. The true big picture thinkers are rare, and the rare still are the ones who are effectively moved to a group of people that meet vision. I see a lot of excellent cinematographers, but very few really good directors because it's a different mindset. So most cinematographers are not good directors because they see. Okay, so if I explain to my cinematographer what the vision is, they'll set up for that vision and then look to me to validate that vision. Okay. Um, they're not good at the little details in the movie. Okay. So if I have a character, okay, so in this scene, my character is eating an apple. Okay. But then I have a scene previous to it where the character is saying that I hate apples. Okay? As a director and as a writer, because if you write the same thing that you're directing, um, I know that there is a scene that has a little kid saying I hate apples, and then there's another scene about somebody eating an apple. Okay, the cinematographer is not going to know that because they're in the moment. They're in the we're creating this scene right now. What's the lights look like? What's the camera angles? What's the actors doing? Like they're in the moment. Okay, um, so cinematographers are usually not good directors because you have to be able to wear multiple hats. You have to understand that the girl is eating an apple in this scene, but there's also a scene that where she says she hates apples. So there has to be something in the middle there that is transitioning her from hating apples to eating an apple that a cinematographer doesn't understand, they don't get, and frankly, it's not their job to understand that. So for him to say, "Well, I see a lot of excellent cinematographers, but they're not good directors." Yes, because it's a different position. It's a way different position. And you have to understand the art of storytelling. But most cinematographers are in the moment. They're in this scene. Let's go. We got to make it look good. You know, is audio cracking on there? Is everything good? Do we have different angles? How many setups that we're doing? So, like, that's what a cinematographer is doing. So they're in the moment. They're not looking at big picture. So for that comment, it's fucking retarded. It's a fucking retarded. Fucking retarded. Okay, so not investing heavily enough in believers. I don't care who you are, what kind of budget you have, and how awesome your story is. Nothing will kill your work faster than not getting it the right cast together. You need believers in the vision, and that's greater than their role. An excellent actor makes life easier, but picking people you can work with is even better. I'm going to throw a personal experience out of this. I don't really care. I mean, he made some good points, but that last one kind of shook me where he was talking about the cinematographers. It's not the same position, and you're not looking at that project in the same light. The director is looking at it this way. The cinematographer is working at it this way. So when he's saying that a cinematographer doesn't make a good director, that's correct because it's a different mindset. It's a different way of thinking. It's looking at step 5 when everybody's on step 1. So it's kind of like that. Yeah. So I mean, that's fine that this dude has his opinion, but obviously he's not a director. He's just a guy with an opinion. Okay, is there anything else I wanted to show? Very few. Okay, what does this person say? Wang. Okay. I for one consider most independent films boring. Here's my reason. Very few independent films are actually of good quality, are actually of any good. In fact, the word independent films doesn't necessarily mean artsy or underrated masterpiece. Most of them are created by bad directors with a bad script using amateur actors. So a lot of them are actually really boring. That's not a good way of saying it's boring. Come on. There she is not an artist, number 1. She's just some random person. So she's going to sit there and say, "Well, the art of it is not engaging. It's just it if I'm not entertained in 5 minutes, well, I mean, I'm that type of person too. So if I watch a movie and it's not doing anything in 5 or 10 minutes, then typically I'm turning it off because it's just not doing anything for me. It's not catching my attention. It's not. For those who really have talent but decided to go create independent films, they got to be a reason for that. They don't want to do something to follow the Hollywood formula. They want to try something new, create something personal. As much as we hate clicks, there's a good reason it works for us. Good reason what works for you. Hollywood is imploding right now. I mean, obviously her comments are 12 years ago, but they didn't hold up because a lot of shit that's happening now we predicted that was going to happen then. I was in fucking Hollywood. I saw this shit happening, and that's why I got the fuck out. So again, she's talking from 12 years ago, you know, but some of the shit that she's talking about right there came true. Okay, human psychology or hardwire in such a way that it really doesn't react to a certain storytelling technique. No, there's not one way of doing anything. Um, and again, I always bring it back to Alfred Hitchcock, who had no formal fucking training, but somehow is one of the greatest directors of all time. Who knows? He didn't follow a formula. And don't sit there and tell me, well, that's 40 years ago. Don't care. 40, 50, 60 years ago. Don't care. He had less technology doing more with less technology. There's a lot of people that have some sort of success because they're leaning on the technology in 2025. He had nothing and still arguably one of the greatest directors of all time. So that doesn't hold water. Okay, some independent films, a lot of us don't. Personal experiences don't usually carry universal appeal. New ideas are often failed. One man's extraordinary journey might really be just some boring stuff on the next person. Okay, Wang, you're a fucking idiot. I admit, from time to time, independent movies surprise me, but most of the time they're boring, either because it's really just bad, or because I can't relate to a personal struggle of the director wants to convey. Okay, so Wang is incorrect again. Most people, including writers of books, write about what they know, write about their life experiences, write about their living experiences, write about their imagination, write about something that relates to them. So, does this lady just live in a fucking box and doesn't have any experience whatsoever? And then she's gonna sit there. Well, I never my kid. My movie's about a little kid with cancer and how it affects the family, and it was based in the 80s. Okay, you believe that cancer is the heart disease and cancer are the number one and number two reason why people die. So for somebody to say, "Well, I just can't relate to a cancer," get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You live in a fucking bubble of bullshit. Guarantee you know how many times I've heard somebody say, "Well, I just don't watch movies." Oh, did you see the baseball game yesterday? Well, I don't watch sports. What the fuck do you do? Like, what do you do? Just sit in the fucking room, just look at the wall? That's a person that's very closed-minded, doesn't experience life at all. And then I'm supposed to try to make my script that personalizes their bullshit and their fucking craziness? No, I'm gonna write something has mass appeal. Okay, so I have a script that I'm kind of rotating in my head a little bit. I want to do like a kind of like a cops and robbers crime drama type thing. Okay, so I've got some stuff that are formatting, like they're going around in my brain that I'm going to start writing down. Okay, am I going to cater to somebody that's like, well, I don't like crime dramas. I don't like cops and robber movies. That's the number one genre right now. So am I gonna fucking listen to Wang and her one fucking opinion about shit that she can't relate to when the number one fucking genre right now is fucking crime dramas and true crime shit? Come on. I mean, honestly, come on. And then I'm supposed to take her a fucking opinion and say, you know what? Wang is correct. No. She's a person on the internet with an opinion saying that they're boring when she doesn't have any life experiences that I can write to to catch her attention. She's a one of one of one of one of one, and I'm supposed to write my script that is supposed to cater to her. Come on. And there's a lot of people like that. It's not just Wang. There's a lot of people like that where it's like, well, I can't relate to it. Well, what do you do? Nothing. I sleep all the time. What am I supposed to write a movie about fucking somebody in the bed sleeping the whole time? That's fucking boring. Holy shit. That's fucking boring. God dang. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy how people are. And all those comments were a couple of years ago, and then Wang's was from 12 years ago. But all right, so I am going away, and I appreciate everybody watching, and hopefully, please start subscribing. I'm seeing like 2 subscribers in the last like 60 days. Like I see you watching. I see you right there. I, okay, somebody behind that guy. I see you watching. I see you watching. I see you watching. Go ahead and start subscribing. I talk about movies. I talk about TV shows, pop culture stuff. But I'm real. I'm as real can be, and I will call somebody's ass out for not being real. Which I think makes me different than everyone else, because everyone else is gonna tote that line, or oh, Disney sucks, Star Wars is dead, Star Wars is dead, Star Wars is dead. I'm not a robot that's just gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna follow the most popular thing. That's not that's never gonna be me ever. So thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate you guys. Please subscribe, like, share the crap out of it. I'm going to be doing some podcasts. I've been talking to some people. We're going to do some podcasts, interview type stuff, so we can start promoting the movie more. Get out in the world. Hopefully, if I can start doing some smaller ones, I'll catch some attention to some larger ones, and maybe we can talk about it some more. So definitely keep an eye on that. And I appreciate everybody. And then let me share my screen. And go check out this right here, The Warrior, based off a true story. It's currently on Amazon Prime right now. Go check it out. It's $3 to rent, $10 to buy. Hopefully, it's going to be on other streamers. Hopefully, one day Tubi will pick it up. I'm hoping and hoping and hoping. I'd love to have YouTube Films pick it up. So there's a couple of them that I would love to have them pick up. But we need to start. Amazon is the first one that picked it up. So I need eyeballs on it. I need people to like it. I need people to, go to Amazon and put 5-star reviews. The whole rigmarole. We need to make our stable. Like, because I want to take the money from this and make another one. Let's go. Let's do it. But if nobody's going to watch it, nobody's going to do their part in sharing it, then what the fuck? Like, what's the point? So definitely go check that out. It's on Amazon. Just put The Warrior and it comes up, and you'll see it like 4th or 5th on the list. I think it was. I was on the #1 list because it was real popular when the first day it came out, and then it's kind of dipped a little bit. So we need to get back up there. So go check that on Amazon Prime, and I will talk to y'all later.